Greetings, Nerds Roundtable. It's Rilez26 here. Today we're going to be doing a very different video. I'm going to be touching on a Second Amendment video by a man named Steven Crowder. Steven Crowder is the guy from the Change My Mind meme. I'm sure you've seen it. It's a great meme. I love it myself. I'll throw some images up in here when I do the editing. Anyhow, so today we're going to be watching a video from him by the top 5 AR lies louder with Crowder. So I'm going to play this and then I'm going to expand on some of the stuff that he says, because I, as an American citizen, it's my right to bear arms, or arm bears, either one. I can arm all the bears I want. Anyhow, and this video does a great job of explaining some of the lies, but I just wanted to put some of my personal stuff on it. I'm not very political. I try to keep political stuff off my channel, but this is something that I feel like I wanted to touch on. It's a project I wanted to work on for a little while now. I was going to do some stuff about the Parkland shooting, but I just don't want that on my channel. I'd rather not go that direction. I don't want to become political backlash and all that crap. So with that being said, we're going to get this started, and we're just going to listen to some of the stuff that Steven says. Let me just turn this up. It is all the way up. Make sure the monitor is all good. All right, 3, 2, and 1. Oh no, why don't I have sound here? Hold the phone. I don't know why I don't have sound. Unless I just did an MP4, which... Let me just pull up another video and see if it plays sound. Because that might just be me being stupid. No, it's the Mac. Okay. 1 second. Okay, we're back. I figured it out. It was just me being an idiot. Alright, so 3, 2, 1.
Evil prick and do damage. You could do it with this. No one's talking about banning that kind of firearm. Why? Because it's wood. We're going to debunk today. Let's go through the top AR-15 myths, because that's what everyone is talking about. So first, question of the day, what do you think? Is this really about banning AR-15s after this shooting? Do you think that'll work, or is it a Trojan horse? I genuinely want to know, because right now, and it seems whenever there's a public shooting, they pick a topic, and right now it is AR-15, that's enemy numero uno.
Okay, so that's the first thing I wanted to really talk about. This is true. There was a shooting, I don't remember which one, I don't remember where it was, but the kid went in with a handgun, and the officer that was on duty stopped him. The officer shot and killed the boy who was trying to shoot, but the media didn't cover that as much. They didn't, because you know why? It doesn't fit their agenda. That's one of the first things I want to talk about. The media will always go with what fits its agenda, what's going to make the network the most money. That's my opinion. That's how I feel, because when I heard about this, I saw the story all over the internet. I didn't see it on the news, no, because it wasn't, the kid didn't use an AR-15. So that's one of the first points I wanted to touch on here. That's why I can't handle Fox or CNN or any other place like that. So we're going to resume.
As opposed to going after all guns, which I think is a little bit of a bait and switch. So this has been making the rounds everywhere. Things like this regarding the AR-15. Here's a woman.
The only way that I can know for sure that this gun will never hurt anyone is if it doesn't exist. I'm not going to let the Second Amendment anymore be used as an excuse for considering children as collateral damage in this country.
The only way to ensure that her inanimate object did not harm somebody.
All right. That is also a very good point I want to touch on. He says, her inanimate object won't hurt anybody. It's true. You, as a gun owner or whatever it may be. As a gun owner, right? That gun can't go off unless you pull the trigger, unless you have bullets in the magazine. It will not, or clip, or whatever it may be, whatever type, depending on the type of gun you're using. But we won't get into that. You're responsible. Your gun can't hurt anybody unless you pull the trigger. It makes. I mean, I think that makes sense. Correct me if I'm wrong. So I'm gonna get back to this.
It makes sense that we found the rifle in question. Yeah, she had to be.
Oh, yeah.
It's shifty. And then this has been making the rounds. This guy destroying his AR-15. It's everywhere. It's all over Facebook and Occupy Facebook, Democrats for Bernie Sanders, whatever. Watch.
When do we make laws that say maybe a weapon like this isn't acceptable in today's society? Is the right to own this weapon more important than someone's life? There's so many of them out there. Well, now, there's one less.
No, there is one more highly illegal rifle.
highly
illegal rifle that no longer fits the government's requirements. I hope someone sends somebody after him. Now, I know.
Okay, so that clip, like, I get that. Listen, as a supporter of the Second Amendment, yeah, I don't think anybody needs an AR-15, but it is your constitutional right to own one. If you want to own one, I feel like go ahead and own one. It is your right as an American citizen to own one. We're not supposed to infringe on those rights. It's stated. It shall not be infringed. And people are going to say, oh, but Rilez 26, the wording is different, the wording and all that. No, I frankly don't give a about the wording, okay? And this guy goes and proceeds to cut his AR-15 in half, okay? Whatever. And they make fun of him for it. They kind of trash him for it because, it doesn't fit the government standard of a safe firearm, which it's true. But he's like, oh yeah, there's one less out there. No, there's still going to be thousands upon millions of them produced. You cutting one AR-15 in half isn't going to stop anybody. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
The spirit of it is a sawed-off shotgun because of the spread, but still, you're not allowed to do that.
Sawed-off shotguns, by the way, also, most places, very...
No, yeah, that's the point. That's why they're illegal. But
right.
The fact that I don't think that was his gun. He knows so little about firearms and firearm safety. I believe he borrowed an AR. I believe he borrowed a fake AR-15, and the Illuminati did.
That was the Keltec AR-15.
Yes. So let's go through the top claims that you usually hear about AR-15s. Myths. Myth number one, AR-15s are the most deadly firearms in the world. Certainly the most deadly available to the public. We've been hearing this a lot lately. This sort of claim made by someone like Senator Nelson. Here you go.
You're looking at somebody who supports the Second Amendment.
They always preface
right
it that
to bear
way.
arms. I grew up here in Florida on a ranch. I have always had guns since I was a little boy. I have hunted all my life. I still hunt with my son. But an AR-15 is not for hunting. It's for killing.
Well, how do you hunt, asshole?
All right, yeah, so AR-15s are the most deadly firearm to the public. Okay, all right, I can see where that comes from, but like I stated, sorry, I lost my train of thought. But like I stated, yeah, AR-15s are deadly. Great. Like I said, I don't think anybody should need one, but if it's their right to own one, they can have one. Now, they just kind of play the clip from Senator Nelson, and they're like, how do you hunt? So, like, by just like, just like wounding it, you'll hear them say it, but I don't know. Some states, some people, I don't understand.
Because that kills too.
I don't like to kill by prey. I just like to just wound
When I go
the hell out of it.
after a grizzly, I just want to get really pissed off so that it'll kill me. And of course, this echoes a statement that the notorious statement that was made by Joe Biden not that long ago.
You don't need an AR-15. It's harder to aim, it's harder to use, and in fact, you don't need 30 rounds to protect yourself.
Is that a
Buy a
fact?
shotgun.
Buy a shotgun. Yeah. Fire indiscriminately into the air. So
Clearly they have a gang rape by 30 people.
yes. First off, guns are killing tools. Okay, and this is why I think this is important. They're killing tools. So if you're just going to ban one because you're saying it's more effective at killing, it's not about the AR-15. It's that you want to ban firearms. And
Okay, I like the point there. That's another point I want to touch on. Just because this weapon is designed for killing. We'll say quote unquote killing. But you want to ban it because it's better at killing things. But where does that leave all the other firearms? Shotguns, handguns, rifles. Like, where does that leave it? Basically, you'd want to ban all those too because they can still kill. But no, just because this one is scary and it looks menacing, you want to ban it.
I do believe that's the overall agenda here, and I'll get to why. Because even with just rifles, we're talking about AR-15s, but just rifles, there are plenty of firearms out there that are more dangerous than AR-15s. If you're just talking about saving one life, there are plenty more rifles that are semi-automatic, that can carry as much ammo as AR-15s, that use ammunition that's as powerful or more powerful than the AR-15. The 223 it's not anything formidable. Some argue it's basically a varmint round. It's lighter for the military to carry. Some examples of these firearms. No one's talking, for example, about the Ruger Mini 30.
Right.
It looks unassuming enough, except that's the same firearm on the bottom.
Yeah. So basically, he shows these two pictures, and you'll see it up on the screen. I'll probably put a screen cap up or something of this. These two weapons fire the same cartridge, or the same round. But the one on the bottom is deadlier because it looks more scary. It's just agenda by the media. That's what I think this is. The top one fires the same round. It fires the same round. Just listen to what Steven Crowder has to say.
Exact same gun. By the way, it fires the same caliber as an AK-47.
Ooh, what's that?
Have you heard anyone talk about banning what is commonly used for deer hunting or certainly bird hunting, semi-automatic shotguns? Have you heard them talk about that? No, this is what they can do. Now, let's look at the side-by-side damage in a ballistics gelatin test from a 12 gauge versus a 223. Now, some people are going to get mad at me saying, don't do this, liberals are going to want to take away the 12 gauges now. Don't blame me, okay? These facts are out there, don't blame me. Semi-automatic, not even rifles, now handguns, Glock 17. It's used by law enforcement. Glock 7.
That was a good point that Steven Crowder brought up. So the semi-automatic shotguns. If you know anything about shotguns shoot little pellets called buckshot. And what buckshot does, when it fires out of the shotgun, it spreads because it's basically a bunch of metal BBs. So you're telling me that a rifle that shoots one round is more deadly than a shotgun that has a spread and can hit more targets. Now, like Crowder said, oh yeah, don't blame me if they ban the shotguns. Like, yeah, that's funny. But in all seriousness, that could do a lot more damage. A shotgun will do way more damage and kill way faster than an AR-15. But because it's an AR-15 and it, like I said, it looks menacing, we have to ban it. He's gonna start talking about the Glock here. I heard it. You heard before I cut there.
19, I think it's the most popular firearm platform
in the world. Yep. Period.
17 rounds in that magazine.
Wow.
Do you hear people talking about banning those? But one of my favorite firearms that I have. This is a basic lever action. So this is actually one of the few that's not semi-automatic because it's lever action.
Right.
This holds 13 rounds of .357 Magnum, arguably the most effective handgun round known to man. Don't get into a caliber war right now. It's that much more effective when coming out of a longer rifled barrel. Just how fast...
Right. So what that means is with the longer barrel, when you fire a bullet, the more rifling or how long the barrel is, the faster it's going to spin and hit its target. So it's going to be way more deadly shooting out of a longer barrel.
Could you shoot this firearm? Here's a world record. Granted, he's the exception, not the rule. But realistically, 13 rounds of .357 Magnum myself, you've shot with this one. What's fantastic. Let's say watermelon, unloaded, just to make sure you know.
Yeah.
Watermelon-sized target at 50 yards, how fast could you shoot this? Probably about... If you were looking to be an evil prick and do damage, you could do it with this. No one's talking about banning that kind of firearm. Why? Because it's wood.
Right. So that's also another point. That's the part you heard at the beginning of the video. So you could still do the same amount of damage. You could still shoot that decently fast. That's a lever action, meaning you shoot, pull the lever, back up, shoot, repeat, shoot, repeat. They're usually called repeaters for the most part. So you could still do the same amount of damage with that rifle he's holding as an AR-15. But they're not going to ban it because it doesn't look scary. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm going to keep rehashing that because It's true. It really is.
Little maple never hurt anybody.
It looks less assaulting.
It looks less assaulty.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the googly eyes on it. So myth number 2, and this is one that's, well, it's really fast. Let's just
Yeah, this one's fast.
AR stands for assault rifle. It stands for Armalite.
Armalite. That's the company in came up with it. It's an unfortunate acronym for them.
That's it.
But
Yeah, so that's one of the things that when I'm commonly talking with somebody about assault rifles or AR-15s, they think it stands for assault rifle. No, assault rifles are fully automatic weapons, meaning once you hold down the trigger, a steady stream of bullets. So it'll go boom, 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 boom. I'll put in some examples. I'll put in some clips of some fully automatic and of some of these examples so you get an idea of what I'm talking about. Semi-automatic, you pull the trigger, boom, one bullet comes out. Boom, boom. Okay, burst. Burst is basically shoots 3 bullets. It sounds like it sounds. Burst. It's pull the trigger. Brr, brr. So I'll put some examples of that so you guys have an understanding of what I'm talking about.
that's the company in came up with it. It's an unfortunate acronym for them.
That's it.
But
Just, we're not going to provide anyone, Google it. So myth number 3, that the AR-15 is an automatic rifle. You hear this a lot. So you don't need it. It's the most dangerous firearm out there. It's an automatic rifle. Claimed by the media. Here's Don Lemon saying just that.
I think most people can go out and buy an automatic weapon.
Don, what is your definition of an automatic weapon? What is your definition of an automatic weapon?
Well, for me, an automatic weapon is something that you can shoot off a number of rounds very quickly. I was able to buy an AR-15.
For me. For the actual definition. Personally.
my truth about assault weapons,
Yeah.
personally, for Donnie.
It's like, you can buy a Scud missile at your local 7-Eleven, but Don Lemon, that's just a hot tamale. For me.
For me,
But for
personally.
me.
It's a Scud missile.
20 minutes later after I eat it, it's a scud.
That's how they hedge it. By the way, Bernie Sanders categorized, he characterized the Orlando, the 6 hour, in the same way. Here you go.
And I got to tell you, over 25 years ago, I believe that in this
That's not
country,
distortion, that's just his
not be
voice.
selling automatic weapons which are designed to kill people.
He didn't chew on frogs.
You would prefer a weapon that isn't designed to kill people? Here's the thing, you want a gun that doesn't kill? You want a gun that isn't effective for hunting?
Right.
That's what, either you want guns or you don't. Either you believe someone has the right to protect themselves or you don't. You can't say, I believe you have the right to protect yourself, but not if it's a firearm that can kill people.
Right,
Maybe
right.
it's okay.
Because in a life and death situation, you want something that isn't going to work.
There are 2 factions when it comes to the gun control argument. And it's horrible tragedy, get it. No one here wants more mass shootings, okay? So we're all just, you see, it's time to have a conversation.
Right.
We've been having this conversation every single day on this show, and so we've been having it in the gun community for a long time. You're late to the party. All right?
Right.
That's what's happening right here. It's not a new conversation. You just don't know what you're talking about. There are 2 factions. People who own firearms or who have ever fired firearms, and the uninformed. And that's the government.
Okay, so I like that. Who is the people who have firearms and have shot in a firearm, and people who haven't, the uninformed. Personally, I have shot in a firearm myself, and I've gone through all my safety classes. I know how to handle a weapon. It's simple. It's common sense. It really is. Just don't be an idiot with the firearm. Make sure you keep it pointed down range. You don't fire. Oh crap! I just lost my train of thought. Again, I can't believe you keep doing that. It's simple stuff. Don't point anything you don't intend to shoot. All that good stuff. It's simple knowledge. So I'm gonna continue this here. Yeah, and then you have the uninformed people who've never shot in a firearm, who've never used one, don't own any. They just don't know what they're talking about. And I'm sorry, that sounds really crass, but it's true. If you've never shot in a firearm, never owned one, you don't really know what you're talking about. You can read all the articles you want, but until you actually fire a firearm yourself and do take the classes and understand that there are people who have firearms that don't want to just shoot up the place. They want it to protect themselves. Personally, when I get older, I want to own a firearm. And you know why? To protect my things in my home and myself. I mean, I feel like that's a pretty reasonable reason to have one.
And that's the gun control crowd. That's it. There's no in between. Now, the truth is that the AR-15, it's not an automatic, it's a semi-automatic. Now, most people, they don't really, that semi is just a race. They hear automatic, right? And they just perk up.
Yes.
Semi-automatic just means you pull the trigger once and one bullet comes out. So, for
as
the
I explained
record,
earlier,
all pistols, pretty much, effectively, are semi-automatics, okay? And the shotguns that I just showed you, a lot of rifles that I just showed you, a lot of 22s. Revolvers are not technically semi-automatic, but they act as semi-automatic.
Right.
Right? They're double-action revolvers. You pull the trigger once and one bullet comes out.
round.
But it's the same, for all intents and purposes, it's the same ultimate effect.
Right.
So when you use the term, when
It
you
is.
ban these semi-automatics, well, hold on, you're talking about everything. You're not just talking about AR-15s.
No.
You're talking about everything. All right. Myth number 4. AR-15s or similar rifles are responsible for most gun violence. This is something you hear a lot.
handguns
The
are,
truth?
I think, actually.
According to the FBI itself, you're 4 times as likely to die from being knifed to death than you are from being shot by a rifle. In 2016, handguns
That's
killed...
all rifles, too.
That's all rifles.
Yeah,
And in
handguns killed the
2016,
most.
handguns killed roughly 19 times as many people
Yep.
as all rifles put together.
Yep.
Again, I know people say, well, then we just need to ban handguns. Exactly. That's my point. You're not talking about banning the AR-15. Because if we're talking about, it's time to get practical about gun control and time to come up with solutions, real talk. Here's the final myth that we talked, this is the big one, this is the crux of it. AR-15s, this idea that they're the weapon of choice for mass shooters. Because that's what they're telling you right now. Listen, we support the Second Amendment, but this is the choice of... Why should people be able to get... We could eliminate mass shootings if we just got rid of the weapon of choice
No, you're
for
not.
mass shooters. Here's a claim from CNN's political in-chief,
Ugh,
Chris Cuomo.
CNN.
The shootings that we've seen with this, it just keeps being used for these massacres because of all of these features I just told you about it being easy to use and all this fire and the caliber bullet and all the damage it can do.
Literally everything wrong about every myth that we just went
Yes.
through. He just summed it up.
Summarized the whole
Yes.
thing.
All the
Yes,
fire
he
did.
and all the caliber.
You pull the trigger, a bullet comes out. We can't have that.
It's a semi-automatic, that's the rate of fire, and the caliber isn't any more powerful than most hunting rounds, you dumbass. The New York Times, by the way, did a review on weapons used in recent mass shootings.
Right.
More recent mass shootings. 11 out of 19 didn't use rifles of any sort.
No.
Okay? Virginia Tech, it was handguns.
Handguns.
They're not AR-15s at Virginia Tech.
Right.
So, this isn't really an indication that limiting AR-15 style guns would specifically have an impact on any of these killings. This is the thing. That you have to go with the premise, okay, we're pro-Second Amendment, but can we find common ground just banning AR-15s? Why? Well, because they're the most dangerous? That's not true.
Nope.
They have a caliber? That's not true. And they're used in most mass shootings. That's
It's not true either.
None of those things are true. So why are we talking about banning the AR-15? What was the Assault Weapons Ban Act? Was that just about the AR-15?
No.
What did it extend to? This is the thing that people need to understand. You can watch everything that's been presented here, okay? And you can, this is what I think, and that's why I want you to comment below. People right now I know are just panicking, going, don't show people how easy it is to use a lever action rifle because then liberals are going to want to ban that. Or go, don't show them how popular the Glock 17 is with 17 rounds because they're going to want to ban that. And then people on the other side are going, I had no idea. I just want to ban that gun and that gun and that gun. Everything he just talked about, let's ban revolvers. Here's the truth. You can look at all of the information presented, the factual information that we presented here today and respond one of 2 ways. Okay, maybe I was wrong about the AR-15
Right.
and potentially firearms in general, or you can watch this video and say, we just have to ban all the things. There is no in between.
No,
you
there
have to
isn't.
pick one. One is constitutionally justifiable, one isn't. You just have to find out where you line up
Right.
and be honest about it. Just don't go out telling everyone that it's just about the scary black rifle or the AR-15
Right,
because
right.
it's not. Hey, did you like this video?
Okay. Yes, Stephen Carter, I did like this video. So, here's my thing. That is very true. There is really no middle ground on gun control. And I get it. Our country is divided in many ways, you know? Republican, Democrat, you know? Right there. That's the example I'm going to use because I can't really think about it. But we're usually all divided on major issues like this. But here's my theory. Ready? I'm gonna get theoretical with you guys, or I'm gonna drop some knowledge on you. Here's what I think. I think if you would like to own any weapon, whether it be an AR-15, a handgun, a shotgun, a hunting rifle, anything, I think you need to go through a background check. I think there should be, is there any history of depression in your family, Alzheimer's, any mental illness, well not Alzheimer's, but any mental illness where it's going to affect your inability to make good decisions with a firearm. I don't think that's a crazy idea. Better background checks, I think it could help a lot. And you're going to say, oh yeah, you can still get them off the black market, blah, blah, blah. You're right, you can. We can't stop that. But here's the thing. Criminals don't follow the law. I'll be straight with you. So you're trying to take weapons from citizens who abide the law and not giving us a chance to defend ourselves by banning firearms. Say we banned all firearms. Let's just go on theoretically here. Say if they banned all firearms. Ready? Is a criminal who was trying to support his family or her family or whatever it may be, are they going to listen to the law, or are they just going to do what they want anyways? They're a criminal for a reason, okay? Because they don't follow the law. So if you're going to take weapons from us, but still give them ability to buy it off of whatever, because that's what's going to happen. Guarantee, if we banned all firearms, people will still find a way to get firearms. It's like drugs. Cocaine's illegal, heroin's illegal, but people still do it, right? That's the thing I present when I have an argument with somebody. Not an argument, but I have a conversation, because most of the time I try to keep it civil with my conversation. But I think just the better psychological background checks, any history of mental illness, I just don't think you should be able to own one. You know what I mean? It's just how I feel. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys like this kind of style of video. I just wanted to try something different and give my spin on the Second Amendment, because I support it 120,000%. I just think there could be things that could be done better to prevent shootings. Another thing, I think putting armed police or guards in the school, at every school, should be a requirement. I think it will be, a better requirement. Yeah, and then you say, oh yeah, Parkland, the officer didn't run in and help the kids. I know, because you know what? He decided not to. But I have more faith in people than that. I believe if we hire people to come help out at the school, like security or police, they'll do a good enough job.